if you're going to vote for Trump and just admit that you're going to hold your nose and vote for Trump, cool. Just be consistent in that. Just say, I think that this is the best option, so I'm going to hold my nose because this stinks, and I'm going to vote for him.
Ruslan.
Before we get into that, guys, my name is Ruslan. This channel exists to encourage, empower, and inspire you to live a life that blesses God. If you're new here or if you're not new here, please take a look and make sure you hit that subscribe button, as a huge percentage of the people that watch this channel, unfortunately, are not subscribed. All right, let's get into the video. Donald Trump recently came out with his personal views on how to unify the country around the topic of the unborn. Surprise, surprise, it has many conservatives upset because they thought that he was pro-life. Of course, they had the moment back in 2015 where he said that a woman who deletes a baby, there should be consequences for her, that she should be charged. That was in the debate with Hillary Clinton, saying that, hey, if a woman deletes a baby, there should be consequences, she should be charged. And now, is he flip-flopped? Was this his position all along? Was he really just pandering all along to get the vote of the pro-life movement? And then once he got into office and once he actually delivered on his promise to elect conservative judges and once Roe v. Wade got overturned, has this been his position all along? It's interesting, but he basically came out and said that he's pro-life with the exception of SA, with the exception of incest, and exception with the mother's health. Now, by the way, the mother's health, most reasonable people would be like, hey, sure, mother's health. However, that is, you want to talk about rare. That is very, very rare. And most people will try and save the mother. Most doctors will try to save the mother and the baby. The issue, SA, I think, is a hard one. But the child should not pay for the consequences for the attacker. I think the attacker should be put to death, personally. But I don't think the child who had nothing to do with it should deal with the consequences of said action against the mother. I think that's dumb. But he disagrees. Not a traditional pro-life position in my estimation, right? So let's see what he said. And so anyway, Arizona comes out with a ruling on a 160-year-old ban of deletion of babies. And Trump says it went too far. Wednesday, that the Arizona Supreme Court went too far in ruling the state's 160-year-old near total ban on deletion of babies can be enforced. Trump made the comment while speaking to reporters after landing in Atlanta ahead of a campaign fundraiser. All right. Yeah, they did, Trump said about the court's judges when asked if they went too far. That'll be straightened out. And as you know, it's all about states' rights. The former presidents predicted that Arizona's governor and others are going to bring it back into reason. While he said the court overstepped, Trump also reiterated his position that the issue of deletion of babies should be left to the state. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. You wanted to revert to the states. That's what your hope was with getting Roe v. Wade overturned. You got it back to the states. Arizona goes, no, we're not rocking out.
Well, you have to assume if you're allowing it to go back to the states, you're going to have extremes on both sides. So you're going to have California and New York who are like, we are a sanctuary city. And then you're going to have Arizona and some other states that are like, no, you're going to prison.
Yes.
And then a lot of them are going to have like a balance.
Yeah, that's what reverting back to the states.
Yeah.
So then if you are okay with that and you're okay with New York and Colorado have some goofy laws, and then Arizona and other places, Florida having some conservative laws, Mississippi, then why say they went too far?
Yeah.
This just proves what many of us knew all along. Many of us knew all along. This is pandering. He is pandering, okay? This man, when he was asked about his favorite Bible verse, he couldn't give you an answer. When he put out an American first Bible with the Constitution in it. This dude is not a Christian. Okay, I hate to break it to you guys. He's not Christian. I'm not saying vote for Biden. I'm not saying therefore go vote for Biden. I'm not saying therefore he isn't the lesser of two evils. But to assume that this isn't direct pandering and going after people who he needs to win back the election, this is who he's always been. He's always been this guy. He's always been pro-choice harsh.
Because he knows that he got Roe v. Wade. He lined up the whole situation for Roe v. Wade to go away. So he knows that the pro-lifers are always going to count that towards him, regardless of what he says.
Yep.
And so now he gets to pander a little bit to the left or the center left leaning people and be like, you know what, there's balance. And then be like, well, at least he can recognize there's balance. And, you know, Biden can't really form a sentence. So I might as well vote for Trump.
I don't know if he's winning anyone over with that.
Then why? What
on the left, I don't think anyone on the left is coming over because
center left.
Even center left. I don't know if they're coming over because he's softening his views on this. I think people who are on the center left already are like, he has all these cases, he has all this controversy. I don't think he's persuading anybody with this.
Yeah. So why do you think he does this?
Because this is
what
him.
he believes.
This is what he really believes. This is what he's really believes.
So he's pandering to the Christians and the evangelicals and the conservatives, and then when he's actually pressed on what he really believes, it's more center left on certain issues.
Yes. All right. So while he said the court overstepped, Trump also reiterated his position that the issue of the deletion of babies should be left up to the states. It's the will of the people. He said, adding that he would not sign a national deletion of babies ban as president. There you go. That's where he's at. That's what he believes. Right. And it's sad because if you're a Christian, you could have really had a pro-life candidate. You could have had Ron. Could have had Ron DeSantis. Like, who's actually pro-life. But you decided to follow the cult of personality. I'm not a registered Republican or a registered Democrat. I didn't vote for either of these guys in the last two elections. But you decided to be theolitical, as my man Kirk Kennedy said. Right? And this is where we're at now. There was other options, but this is where we're at. The cult of personality trumps actual policy and anyone that's actually aligned with the values that evangelicals claim to have when it comes to voting. Right? Under the law from 1864, anyone who performs the deletion or helps a woman access to that care, yikes, could face felony charges and up to 5 years in prison. The law includes an exception to save the woman's life. Even that law, which they're like, this is barbaric from 1864, even that law includes the exception to save a woman's life. Right? So I don't think anyone's like, this idea...
Women are dying left and right because of
nonsense.
This crazy law from 1864.
Right. Nonsense. President Biden's campaign said in response to Trump's remarks that the former president owns the suffering and chaos happening right now. And yeah, so they flipped it on him. They're like, but you made this with the Roe v. Wade, right? This is what I mean. Like, he loses either way.
Yeah.
Right? Trump lies constantly about everything, but has one track record. So they're saying, yo, you. So I'm over here saying this is who he's really been. And the left is saying, yo, you've always been about the banning of the deletion of babies. This is the flip-flopping, right? The guy who wants to be a dictator on day one will use every tool at his disposal to ban the deletion of babies with or without Congress and running away from reporters in his private jet. Like a coward doesn't change that reality. Sheesh.
It's just so disingenuous. The funny thing is I saw on Twitter when there was a video previously where he was flexing, I single-handedly responsible for Roe v. Wade being overturned. And everyone on Twitter, super left, they just couldn't imagine that there's actually a pro-life people out there. And they're like, and so they just kept retweeting it like, imagine actually bragging that you took away women's rights. And people are like, he actually thinks this is something special. Or like, they really think that the general consensus is that a deletion of babies is widely accepted. And so it's like, they're tweeting about it as if him flexing that is not serving him when it does with the pro-life people. Yeah. And it's just funny because everyone thinks that it's like that insane that he did that. Yep. Back to your point is like, the left is like, how dare you? You're the guy that's a dictator and you're banning deletion of babies at any second you get. And then us Christians are like, you don't really care.
Yeah. I'll be that to the states. Everything we're doing now is in states' rights. And what we wanted to do is get back to the states because for 53 years it's been a fight. And now the states are handling it. And some have handled it very well and others will end up handling it very well. Trump's remarks come after he said Monday that the deletion of babies laws and policies should be controlled by individual states. He did not take a position, however, on the possibility of a national deletion of baby bans. That has been pushed by conservatives in Congress, including many of his allies. My view is now that we have deletion of babies where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint, the states will determine by voter legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land. So he's basically just reverting it back to states.
He's still posting to Truth Social.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's his thing. His position has drawn blowback from some Republicans who have wanted Trump to promote the possibility of a national ban. For example, Lindsey Graham's statement, Dobbs does not require the conclusion legally, and the pro-life movement has always been about the well-being of an unborn, not geography. Some Arizona Republicans have distanced themselves from the ruling, including GOP Senate candidate Carrie Lake, who had previously called the statute a great law. Trump's comments at the airport Wednesday came after he greeted the small town supporters. Okay, anyway, so this is my only issue here. If you're going to vote for Trump and just admit that you're going to hold your nose and vote for Trump, cool. Just be consistent in that. Just say, hey man, this dude has some issues. I don't think he's a follower of Jesus. I don't think he's a Christian. But you know what? And there's a lot of things about his personal life and some of his policies that I disagree with. But I think that this is the best option. So I'm going to hold my nose because this stinks and I'm going to vote for him. Just be honest about that. Just be honest about that. Don't act like he is this savior of the country, right? I'm not saying vote for, by no means am I saying vote for Biden. I'm just saying be honest and be consistent. I don't really rock with this dude like that. I think he's kind of a womanizer. I think he has a track record of saying some wild stuff. But unfortunately, this is where we are as a country. And so therefore, I'm a hold my breath and vote for this dude. Just be consistent in that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because to make this seem like some sort of like virtuous move, it's not a virtuous move. It's the we got nothing better. Like, that's what you're really saying. You're not taking back the country with him. Like, that's not what's happening. That's not what's going to happen, right? So at least you know that he's not as off the rails as Biden. Like, you get that point. He seems to be there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that would just be my only advice. Is like, let's be sober that if you're voting for him, you're literally voting for the lesser of two evils. That's what you're voting for. And it's no different than a vote for RFK. RFK is pro-choice light. Trump is pro-life light. It's the same thing, right? I can't vote for any of these guys. My conscience doesn't allow me to vote for any of these guys. So anyway, let's move
for
on.
Trump.
Huh?
I'll vote for Trump.
You gonna vote for Trump? I mean, I vote in California.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm just trolling.
Yeah. I think you should be more in tune with your state elections and your local elections.
Yeah.
Like, what's on a ballot in your area? Like, that has way bigger impact on, like, your local community. According to the Bible, that prayer is extremely important in terms of us being transformed from the inside out when we get aligned with God's will. For the Christians watching this channel, I want you guys to implement these spiritual disciplines in your day-to-day life. And the only way I've been able to do this consistently is through writing down my prayers in a prayer journal that does a few things. One, it allows me to reflect and come to God humbly and ask him to move on my behalf. And two, it allows me to document my prayers, which ultimately help me remember the very things that I was praying for and see the hand of God tangibly in my life when he answers them. So I would urge you, consider writing down your prayers. It could be in a blank notebook. It could even be on your phone. Or you could check out the one I personally designed and used from my own quiet time and spiritual discipline that I think will be a huge blessing. It's the exact structure and system that I've used for years to pray and be more consistent in my spiritual disciplines. You can pick yours up today by clicking the link in the pinned comment below. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.